The year 2013 delivered a peculiar cinematic double punch, a symmetrical assault on the very heart of American executive power. While one film, Olympus Has Fallen, approached the unthinkable premise of a White House takeover with grim, visceral intensity, the second, Roland Emmerich's magnificent behemoth, White House Down, elected instead for a bombastic, mile-wide smile of pure, unadulterated popcorn cinema. It is a film that views the most heavily guarded building in the free world not as a sacred citadel, but as a colossal, multi-story playground, a hallowed jungle gym where the stakes are global nuclear war and the weapons of choice range from a rocket launcher to a very special, very heavy presidential limousine. From its opening frames, the film establishes a tone of self-aware, almost giddy excess. We meet John Cale, a former soldier and current Capitol policeman, whose entire ambition is encapsulated in a single, deeply personal desire to join the Secret Service and, in doing so, finally impress his politically obsessed, YouTube vlogging daughter, Emily. Cale, however, is the quintessential lovable, slightly clumsy underdog. His interview with the pragmatic deputy special agent in charge, Carol Finnerty, ends in rejection, setting the stage for the film's central conceit, an unqualified man, driven by fatherly love, becoming the last line of defense. The dramatic irony is thick, served with a side of explosive patriotism. The catalyst for all the ensuing chaos is, fittingly, a field trip. Cale takes Emily on a White House tour to soften the blow of his rejection, an ill-fated parental gesture that places them precisely where catastrophe will strike. The attack itself is an Emmerichian masterpiece of escalation. It begins with a diversionary bomb at the Capitol, a signature piece of digital architecture demolition, before the primary force, a heavily armed paramilitary unit led by the chillingly professional Emil Stenz, breaches the White House gates. This is no foreign invasion. It is an inside job, a domestic coup orchestrated by figures who feel betrayed by President James Sawyer's controversial and progressive peace doctrine, which proposes withdrawing U.S. forces from the Middle East. Jamie Foxx's portrayal of President Sawyer is immediately distinctive. He is a young, stylish, sneaker-wearing, Nicorette-chewing, genuinely humanist commander-in-chief, a clear, aspirational cipher for the concurrent Oval Office occupant. He is a president of ideas, thrust abruptly into a realm of pure action, a fish-out-of-water dynamic that forms the spine of the film's unexpected and effective comedic chemistry. Cale, separated from Emily and finding himself the accidental guardian of the president, evolves from a hopeful applicant into the nation's reluctant hero. The relationship that blossoms between the working class, physical Cale and the academic, initially vulnerable Sawyer is the film's beating, surprisingly witty heart, injecting much-needed levity into a scenario of existential dread. What follows is an extended, intricate, and often ridiculous game of cat and mouse within the iconic structure. The film manages to be a meticulous architectural tour while simultaneously tearing the place apart. We race through the Oval Office, the Blue Room, the Presidential Emergency Operations Center, and even the White House swimming pool, each location transforming from a seat of power into a bloody arena. Cale and Sawyer are a dynamic duo of mismatched competence, bonding over gunfights and fatherhood. In one moment, the president is questioning Cale's methodology. In the next, he's wielding a rocket launcher out of the presidential limousine, nicknamed the Beast, as it performs an impossible, mud-splattered car chase across the South Lawn. The moment is peak Emmerich, suspending all laws of physics and plausibility in favor of maximalist cinematic spectacle. The conspiracy underpinning the attack is a deliberately convoluted web that touches on the military-industrial complex and the thirst for perpetual war. The mastermind is eventually revealed to be Martin Walker, the disgruntled, retiring head of the Secret Service detail. His motivation is a classic cinematic vendetta, revenge for a botched operation that cost him his son, a narrative thread that attempts to provide a grounding emotional darkness which the film's overall tone often struggles to support. The plot twist involves high-level corruption reaching all the way up to the Speaker of the House, Eli Raffleson, an alarming depiction of a broken government willing to sacrifice the world for profit. Perhaps the most potent element of the film, and a significant deviation from its counterpart, is the role of Emily Cale. Joey King's portrayal of the politically astute daughter is crucial. She is not merely a damsel in distress. She is an active participant, a savvy digital native who uses her phone to record and live stream the terrorists' actions, inadvertently breaking the news to the outside world and exposing the inner workings of the plot. She embodies the film's somewhat heavy-handed, yet sincerely felt, optimism, the idea that truth, courage, and a bit of technological pluck can still stand against overwhelming institutional darkness. Her small, defiant act of patriotic journalism becomes the hinge upon which the climax turns, transforming the film from a generic action flick into a story about a father, his daughter, and the fragile, symbolic power of the American flag. White House Down is ultimately a tribute to the Die Hard formula, filtered through the lens of a director who loves to watch famous landmarks explode. It's loud, long, and occasionally ludicrous, a 2-hour-plus commitment to sheer, unapologetic action. While critics often found its light, goofy tone and over-the-top antics jarring against the seriousness of the premise, it is precisely this lack of self-seriousness that makes it such an enduring and enjoyable summer blockbuster. It's a film that asks you to turn off your critical mind, embrace the sight of a fictional president wielding military hardware, and remember that sometimes, saving the free world is just a way for a dad to finally get his daughter's respect. The spectacle is magnificent, the heroes are endearing, and the final message, painted in broad strokes of idealism, is that the American spirit, messy and occasionally illogical as it is, will always fight back. It is a wildly entertaining, gleefully excessive, and uniquely American piece of maximalist cinema.